So today I need to do a little work on my Santa Cruz Heckler. You can see that the chain's off of it and the rear derailleur's off of it. I pulled that rear derailleur to use on my daughter's Gary Fisher Marlin, so now I have some new stuff to go on this, but before I do any of that, I'm going to pull this down and wash it off because it's pretty muddy. I figured so long as I have my my bike up in the stand, I'd go ahead and swap around some cranks too for it. So I pulled these LX cranks off my daughter's bike. I'm going to make them back to a 3-speed and then take these SRAM cranks and convert them back to a single and use those for my daughter's bike. I think that'll help the chain line on her bike a bit. And then I went and picked up these LX shifters, and I have this XT derailleur. So that'll go on the Santa Cruz, and right now it has cable pull disc brakes, and I thought I'd try out these Hayes hydraulic disc brakes. So those will go on too. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by reconfiguring these cranks and do that first. I've reconfigured the cranks now, and I've made a mistake. I thought I had a small chain ring for this with the correct bolt pattern, and I don't. So I'm going to have to go pick one up tomorrow and finish that up. But I'll get these on my daughter's bike, and that'll match up with her SRAM group set on there, and that'll be better for her. Now it's time to take apart this handlebar and get everything off of it so I can start putting the new parts on. So I'm going to go ahead and start on that real quick. The handlebar's now stripped down, and I went ahead and put the new shifters on and the rear brake lever, and the hydraulic line is running back, and I've bolted on the new brake. And in order to attach the hydraulic line, I have this universal fit cable guide that works for hydraulic lines. So I'm going to go ahead and use these to attach the hydraulic line. The brake line is now zip tied in at a few different points, and it looks like it should work pretty good. The only trouble I'm running into is this brake line is quite a bit longer than it needs to be. So I'm going to need to get a kit in order to shorten the brake line and re-bleed it, which it probably needs to happen anyhow. I should probably replace the pads as well. So that's going to have to come along later, along with that crank and that extra chain ring I'm needing to pick up. I have the brakes set up now, and in order to take up at least a little bit of the slack for these brake lines that are a little too long, I put this core stem on that's a bit longer than the last stem, and it looks nice. So here's the front end of the bike now. I still do need to shorten those lines, so I'll get a kit to do that. And while I was rummaging around to find parts, I actually came across my missing chain ring. So now this can go on the bike, and that'll be good because then I can set up my drivetrain. So I already have, it's kind of hard to see, I already have this LX front derailleur on here that matches my LX shifters. And then I'm going to put this XT rear derailleur on, and so I'm going to go ahead and get that all set up. Bike is all back together, or at least as back together as it's going to be for today. It's at least a couple steps closer to being done. So got the core stem on there, the new shifters and brakes. Was able to get the matching crankset on there. I am going to need a different bottom bracket. I didn't realize quite how wide the bottom bracket is for that, so I'm going to need to do that. And I have the XT rear derailleur on, and the brakes are all set up. They do need bled, but at least I can see how this bike's going to look, and I kind of like it. Here is my daughter's bike back together too. Got this on here, and the nice thing with this is it'll now be easier to find a narrow wide chain ring to go on here. I also have some spacers coming so that I can help out this chain line a little bit. I can make that a little bit better too. But it's all back together for now. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Check me out at Lance R. Hatch on Instagram, and I'll see you next time.